This is Taking Stock on Bloomberg. I'm Pimm Fox. Now, my next guest is a complete mystery to me, but my producers, they've been kind enough and smart enough to give me a few hints. Now, as a teenager, she worked as a magician's assistant, but now her duties involve manufacturing magical moments. Some of her clients are big stars, including Robert Downey Jr. and Martha Stewart. Her business philosophy is never to throw the same party twice. All right, let's bring out our mystery guest. Welcome to Taking Stock.
Hi, Pimm. How are you?
Good. Nice to meet you.
You too.
You've got some books there, so I'm assuming maybe you're an author. You're an authoress of books.
I am.
And it mentioned parties, about giving the same party twice. Do you plan parties for celebrities, for Robert Downey Jr., for Martha Stewart?
I do. I design and plan parties. So for some of my clients, I create the ambiance, the way everything looks and feels. And for others, I plan all the logistics. And for some of our clients, we actually do both.
What could you plan for Martha Stewart? I mean, it seemed that. Do you work for Martha Stewart?
No, I do not. I actually own my own company. I have two companies. And the one that produces real events has actually been asked to do a couple of things for her. We were called to decorate the set of her television show for the 15th anniversary of her magazine. They did a special edition, and they called my company to come in and make the set of her TV show look really extra special for her.
All right, so I've gotten pretty close here. I mean, you know, party planner, event planner, set planner, designer. I mean, do you also plan weddings and big social events such as that?
We do. So my one company is called Bussen Incorporated.
See,
and
now you gave me your name.
Oh.
Well done. You see, I don't even have to guess everything.
You've done this before.
Well, only this is the first time someone's actually revealed it. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
All right.
Okay, so hey, these are my books.
Very good. Well, see, now I can really know your name, Bussen.
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 Yes.
I beg your pardon.
Absolutely.
Simple, stunning parties at home.
Yes.
And simple, stunning bride.
Yes.
All right. So are people actually spending a lot of money on parties and weddings?
Well, you know what's interesting is with weddings, they just keep coming and keep happening no matter what is going on with the economy. So what we've noticed in my company is that the events got a little bit smaller as a result of the economic downturn. So maybe a slightly smaller guest list, or working with a smaller budget. But people are continuing to get married, and that is one occasion in their life where they are willing to kind of go the extra mile or spend the extra dollar.
To really spend the money.
Yeah, to make it special.
Are they changing where they actually hold the weddings? I mean, are they trying to economize in some way by holding them either closer to home or where more people might attend, or do they go off on a vacation and spend even more money doing that?
Well, you know, it's interesting because a destination wedding is not always more expensive for the bride and groom, and that's because, so you're flying there, but you can often get these great packages, and then the guests are often paying for their own, you know, food and accommodations and travel and all that sort of stuff. So it can be a good deal for the bride and groom to do a destination wedding. And so I'd say it's kind of a toss-up in terms of where the weddings are happening. What I'm noticing as far as people kind of pulling back or economizing is more in the area of things like decor. People are not only being more economically aware, but they're also being more environmentally friendly. So there's this whole sort of mantra of less waste, more taste is kind of how I describe it. And that fits right in with my business model because we are into creating beauty and making magical moments, but we're more about infusing the celebrations with meaning and beauty where you get the most, you know, bang for your buck, as opposed to just throwing more and more and more decor, which I think was the case back in the, you know, late 80s, early 90s, that kind of thing.
What do you think we should do to the set here? Should we add a lot of decor?
Oh, I need some time. I need some time.
You need some time? Wait,
First of all, where's the champagne?
Well, that maybe comes afterwards.
Okay.
Are people spending, we had an expert on wine on, are people continuing to spend on alcohol and wine and champagne at events?
I just had a conversation with a client yesterday where they're having a wonderful celebration at a venue that has an in-house caterer that provides wine as a part of the package, and yet they want to upgrade the wines because I think people are just really into wine right now. They're really into flavor. People are becoming much more savvy about, you know, local products, seasonal, organic, and just their palates are becoming more developed. I mean, I remember when I first moved here from Ohio and I was at a wine tasting, knew nothing about wine whatsoever, and the guy, and this is years and years ago, the guy's, you know, tasting us on the wine, and he says, "This wine smells like violets." and I thought to myself, I don't even know what violets smell like. So, I had no repertoire. But nowadays, people are just becoming much more aware of their senses and much more in tune with offering something that is, delicious and as I said, local or seasonal. So, yeah, those upgrades are still happening.
And
sure.
we talk a lot about things like food inflation. We're just talking about wheat and coffee and things like that.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that the input cost, because you obviously have to deal with certain vendors and certain people that are professionals in the industry, are they coming to you and saying, things are more expensive this year?
Well, it's interesting because over the course of the last couple of years, fuel costs have been started to be added into like almost everything. Flour deliveries, things like the transportation companies, the limo services that we're using to transport the guests from one place to another. So I have noticed it in that respect. And flowers in general seem to keep going up no matter what, and they are coming, to us from all over the world.
Paying for beautiful things. I want to thank you very much, Karen Bussen, really sharing your insights into. Oh, we're going to keep you a little bit. We're going to ask you more about what we need to do to decorate the set. We've got more on Taking Stock. On my mystery guest, no longer a mystery, Karen Bussen, expert when it comes to planning parties, weddings, social events. Also, author of several books. One is Simple, Stunning Bride. I guess it's part of a series. Simple.
Yes.
Is that what people want now? Is they want something that's simple that they can understand without having a lot of complicated details?
Exactly. Well, I actually think it's more about getting back to the basics of what celebrating is really all about, at least in my opinion, which is bringing people together for joy, for the purpose of joy. So we want to create beautiful parties, but I noticed the reason why I created this series, Simple Stunning, is because my clients were coming to me and saying, we just want a fun party. We want it to be simple. We want it to be beautiful, but, just bringing it back to what is essential. So kind of like I was saying before, the less waste, more taste factor, and less in so many ways can often be more. It doesn't mean that you're going on the cheap. It just means that you're learning to recognize where quality is, where you are going to get that bang for your buck in terms of a beautiful visual at an entryway or on a fireplace or on your dinner tables, where you're spending the most amount of your time, and then infusing the celebration with the spirit of joy and fun. And
now, is joy and fun in New York more expensive than joy and fun in other parts of the country?
Good question. My answer to that would be no, absolutely not. We've got an overabundance of joy here in New York, and it's really about just knowing where to, now all the stuff that surrounds the joy in terms of the plates, the glasses, the tablecloths, the transportation, all that. Of course, we pay a premium here. In fact, I think that the national average is somewhere around $24,000 per wedding, and there are about 2.5 million weddings in the United States every year. In New York City, that is a fraction of the number that most people spend on their weddings here.
A fraction of the number,
yeah.
24,000.
Exactly. So, everything from the venue to the flowers to the decorators to the planners, everything, it just has a higher price tag in New York City.
What's the highest price tag event you've ever put together?
Over $1 million.
Over $1 million for a party. Was it a wedding, a party? I'm not going to...
A wedding. Mm-hmm.
A wedding.
Yep.
Did they enjoy it?
Well, you see, and the thing is, it's all relative because for some clients, a wedding is a very special event, and the amount of money that they're spending is relative, obviously, to their means as well. So these clients who are spending $1 million on their wedding, it's not as if they're leveraging all their assets to pay for the wedding. They are also philanthropists. They have, it's not like a choice between one or the other. Whereas, for me, for example, I would be having a much more modest affair. But so yeah.
What about in corporate planning? Because you must come into contact with corporations and businesses that plan certain kinds of events. Have you
Yes.
seen any changes in the way that they're spending their money?
Oh, yes. We took a huge hit at the end of 2008 and into 2009. Literally every corporate holiday party that we had, save one, was canceled completely. And then as we've sort of crept back up a little bit to where, okay, we're doing something, but we just have this amount of money to spend. It's like, gone are the days when there's an event planner who just says, okay, great, bring us whatever decor and send me the bill for it. You'll get paid in 60 days. Now every line item of every invoice is being considered and approved, and so it's a completely different environment.
And if it's a completely different environment, does that mean that trying to market those kinds of services also is different because you have to talk more about value in addition to I can bring all the lovely, stunning events?
Yes, we have to be very mindful of, even when we are communicating with the clients, communicating to them. And actually, it's part of my business philosophy is that we're always trying to offer the most value to our clients that we can. So that's something that, we're trying to do anyway. But I think one of the things I'm known for in the industry is a little bit more restraint in terms of, I'm always the person for some crazy reason who's saying, you know what, we don't really need that. let's do this instead, or let's try this instead, or here's where we should spend our money. And I think that that over time I've kind of gotten a reputation like that. So my clients do feel that they can trust me, on as far as that aspect.
In an event such as a wedding, I mean, do you find also that the man as well as the woman, or at least both partners, both people in the union, they're spending the time to look at what's going on in the wedding? It's no longer just one person?
I have to say, grooms, for example, during weddings are much more involved than they ever were before. I mean, I now have grooms who literally come to almost every meeting. Some of them even want to come to the flower market with us, which, that never used to happen. So they are seeing it more as an event that they are taking ownership of and wanting to be a part of that, of personalizing.
I want to thank you very much, Karen Bussen, being our mystery guest, no longer a mystery. Thank you for your simply stunning appearance.